All right. So, yeah, that lighting is really fucked up. Actually, so is the video. So the game looks like it's recording in proper frame per second, but the video itself, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I really don't know. Oh well. Not like you watch this stuff to look at my face anyway. So if I manage to lose this game, I want every one of you to make me a promise. You'll unsubscribe. Because I randomed the cheapest hero in all of Dota. And I mean the cheapest hero in this entire game. And it's impossible to do badly as this guy. It's just impossible. You can't. It's So today I wanted to talk a little bit about employees. Again, why is mid when we have a tinker? Because I want to be mid, motherfucker. That's why. Why does everybody always cares what lane I'm in? Why? Why do you give a shit? This is where having boots early game kicks ass. Not only do I have slow and shield, but I have boots. This guy is trying to Santoro me, but he's not gonna. Damn. Tinker is not gonna steal my kill. You will not fucking Santoro me. Oh, looks like I'm I don't use the word kill steal anymore. I like Santoro better. What do you think, Mr. Clinton? Yes, good boy, Mr. Clinton. Hey, hey, no hitting the microphone, boy. I guess if... So what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about... I get a lot of messages about this. And I have also gotten some comments on some of the recent stuff I've done because I've been talking about employee stuff in some of these videos. And I just wanted to talk about the people where... I think people are getting a little bit of a wrong idea on when I say good versus bad employees. Maybe that's not it, but what am I trying to say here? I appreciate when people tell me that they need to be fired. See that right over there? That's a save. I just put a shield on. I appreciate when people tell me they need to be fired. I really do. I mean this. When people do things like assume that that a DVD player is a mass storage device, what they're saying is, Lewis, I need to be fired. When people don't show up to work 3 days in a row, they're saying, Lewis, I need to be fired. And what I appreciate about that, as much as it's bad work, they're actually doing something that's good for me, which is making my decision easy. What I don't like is when people make the decision hard. What I don't like is when somebody does, they come to work every day, but it's 40 minutes late. And as soon as I'm about to, decide I've had enough of that, they start showing up 10 minutes early. Or the people that figure out how to do some of the new repairs, they do most of their repairs decently, but there's a good 20% of them where there's a piece of glass being left in, or there's always something being overlooked, or shut the fuck up, asshole. See, this is the thing with Dota. Now, I'm just going to stay in this lane just to piss him off. I don't care. I'm staying in this lane. I'm staying in this lane just because you're a fucking douchebag. I claimed this lane first. I don't give a fuck how pissed off you are. You can ping all you want. I muted Dota, motherfucker. I muted my speakers. Anyway. I'm just ignoring it. But... yeah, look at this guy. Cry more, motherfucker. Maybe I'll feed this game on purpose. Fuck off. Let's see. He is 0-0. I'm 2-0. Gee. Oh well. Anyway, the people that really get to me are the people that kind of do the bare minimum required to not get fired. I like people that do everything in their power to get fired because they make the decision to let them go easy. The people who do the bare minimum not to get fired. They check their phone just enough that I'm not going to make it an issue. They're late just enough that I'm not going to make it an issue. They screw up just enough repairs that they're not going to make it an issue. And it's one of those things where you just have to be able to gauge whether that person is actively thinking to themselves, what is the bare minimum I can do? What is the maximum that I can get away with before there is a consequence? And then just treading right up to that line. Because what happens here is they go right up to that line of exactly what they're allowed to get away with. And they stay at the company, they stay with you because you know that you can't fire them because they have not technically crossed over the line. But the message that sends everybody else is that the bare minimum is acceptable. And the thing that I want to get across to everybody watching this video is that your employees, if you're a business owner, your employees are not looking to you to see how to act. They're not looking to the boss to see what the expectations are. They're looking to what the other employees are doing. They're looking to identify with other people who were in their position. So they're going to look at the other people who were in their position and see what it is they get away with. How much effort do they put in? How much do they try to do? How much do they try to accomplish? And they're going to do just that. And the real poisonous thing is, again, if you fire somebody, let's say somebody doesn't show up to work 2 days in a row and they don't call in sick and they don't tell you why, and they come back and they get fired. Well, the new employee may think, oh, God, I wonder how this gets handled at this company. Is it cool? Is it whatever? And then they realize that person just gets fired when they come back to work. They know, oh, okay, that's not something that's going to be tolerated here. But if that person does just the bare minimum to not get fired, or that they don't get fired, that new person's going to say, well, it's not like I'm going to try to not show up to work, but I know if I don't show up to work one day, and I don't call in sick, and I don't explain what happened, it's not really a big deal. And that's the problem. See, all your employees are looking to the other employees. Think of it like a lowest common denominator thing. Your staff morale is only as high as the morale of the person who has the lowest morale, because they're looking to everybody else to see what it is they can get away with. And I'm not even saying that your employees are not the reason that they're not screwing around is because they're afraid of getting caught. A lot of people just have a natural inclination to do their best because they want to put good effort into their work. They want people to respect the work that they do. And they feel good putting a good effort into the stuff that they're doing for a living. It's a natural thing. But the thing is, their work ethic will decline over time, their morale will decline over time if they see that they're working with individuals that do not care about their job, that retain it. And the reason they'll stop caring is not even because they're lazy. It's not because they're lazy, it's an emotion, what I like to think of as some kind of emotional defense mechanism. Because let's say I'm getting $10 an hour, and I bust my ass to get all the stock out and to rearrange everything and go under the gondolas and find all the merchandise that customers have knocked under the gondolas and put SKUs on items where the SKUs have been ripped off so they can be resold again. I put all this effort in, and I get $10 an hour. And then I see that the other guy who makes $12 an hour doesn't check under the gondolas except when there's going to be an inspection of the department. He doesn't put barcodes on things up until the last moment that somebody asks about it getting sold. He comes into work late every day. I'm going to feel like a real fucking idiot. I'm going to start to feel bad for the fact that I'm putting so much effort in. Resentment is now going to occur. And the only way that I can stop this resentment from occurring is to stop investing so much of myself into the company. And that's what's going to start happening. It's not even like your employees are going to be people that are naturally bad or lazy people. They're just to protect themselves and to protect their own emotional state. They're going to start acting that way because they don't want to feel bad. How greedy am I? Come on. This guy is so easy. It's like literally, it's like right-click, own, right-click, own, right-click, own. You can't die as this dude. And I suck at Dota, trust me. I suck balls at this game. It's just so easy to get kills as this guy. It's a joke. It takes no effort. Well, here I'm going to get killed, but am I? I was this close to shielding myself in time and I didn't. I'm sure that yellow guy is going to cry now. Hey, you died. Oh, well. I'm leading in kills, so F you. But it's impossible to do badly as this hero. But anyway, your employees are going to start doing a worse job when they see that you will tolerate a worse job, not because they themselves are lazy, but just because they don't want to feel that bad feeling inside of knowing that they're busting their ass when they don't have to be, when somebody else is not, when there's not recognition for it. It's their way of stopping themselves from breeding resentment, because you're going to find that the employees, if you do have people that bust their ass constantly, and you have these people that bust their ass even when it's clear and obvious that people who get paid more money are not busting their ass or just doing the bare minimum to not get fired, you're going to notice that they're going to start to resent the environment. They're going to start to resent the boss, and worst of all, the worst possible thing that can happen is they start to resent themselves. So overall, if you have to think to yourself as to whether or not you need to fire somebody or lay somebody off, if you have to think about it on a regular basis, I wouldn't weigh the pros and cons of it. I would ask yourself this. Instead of saying, well, they're late, but they do this. Well, they can fix this well, but they always fuck that up. Well, they're good at this, but they suck at customer service. Well, they're really nice to this people, but they're mean to these other customers, and I have to worry about it. What I would do, ignore all that. Stop weighing things with the scale. I would simply ask yourself this. How often do I debate whether or not I should have this person on my team? How often do I debate with myself whether I should have this person on my team? Because I think about this. When I think about this with people like the salesperson that I have now, I have never in 3 years thought to myself, should I have this person on my team? Never. Ever. I've never thought to myself, I need to, this person should not be on my team. This person doesn't deserve to be here, or this person puts in a good effort, but one of those people where it just never comes to mind. And I want you to think about this when it comes to things, because I know what I try to do now is, since this is a one-way conversation, I try to anticipate what the comments will be. And I don't do that because I'm trying to assume the worst. It's just with 60-something thousand subscribers, I say something and there's a question that can be asked there. And then somebody asks it and I answer it. But then since there are 62,000 people potentially watching, then I get 62,000 questions in the comments all over and over again. So I try to answer the questions in the video, because there's nothing like getting the same question in a video like 90,000 times and just answering it 90,000 times. It just gets old. So people are going to say, well, what if you dealt with the bad behavior when the bad behavior happened? What if you corrected it? Why don't you have write-ups like other employees? I don't believe in write-ups. I don't believe in write-ups. I don't. If write-ups demoralize good people. Write-ups are there to pretty much discipline people who, how do I put this? I'm trying to think of the politically correct way to put this, which is odd because I don't usually care about these things. How do I say this? What are the words I'm looking for? Let's think for a moment. This is why it's good to play Dota. I can actually take a break until I come up with the proper words. The thing is, I want those people who are very, very motivated. I want people who are self-motivated, who want to do a good job because it's just naturally in them to do a good job. I don't want the people who are only doing a good job out of fear of write-ups. I want people who are doing a good job because they are motivated by success. They're not motivated by fear of write-up. They're not motivated by not wanting to be written up. They're motivated by wanting to succeed, by wanting to do well by the business, by wanting to do well by their own efforts, by wanting to see the results and the fruits of their own labor. And you don't get that when you write people up. When you write people up, you just get people who start doing the bare minimum. The more you start writing people up and getting them in trouble, the more they're just going to start doing the bare minimum of whatever, the less they think for themselves, and it all goes downhill in my opinion. An example with the salesman. Does this sound like the behavior of somebody that's regularly written up? Let's see. What's a good story? Good event that happened. There are so many things that he does, and I don't really remember specific events. I just remember knowing that I was proud of those specific events that he was on our team. An inspection, good one here. So there's this like 900-page book of all the different rules and regulations if you want to have electronic service dealer license in New York City. And a lot of those rules are complete bullshit. One of them is having the license number on the receipt. If you don't have the license number on the receipt, you can very easily get a $1,000 fine. It's ridiculous, it's bullshit, but that is the world that we live in. There is a lot of stuff that it's ridiculous and bullshit, and just speaking of ridiculous and bullshit is the amount of help that I got from this little fucker over here. I'm going to remember that when it comes time for him to need my help. And one of them is you have to have the license number on the receipt. So we have an inspector come in, and he's asking questions that lead the sales guy to kind of imagine that he needs to have a license number on the receipt. And he knows that in the past I've gotten that $1,000 fine or whatever for not having the license number on the receipt. And I did, but then I changed POS systems and I forgot to do it in the new POS system. So he did some silly shit. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the guy asked for some type of copy of the receipt. And then he calls himself and he pretends that it's from his pocket. He's like pretending it's a customer. And then while he's pretending that he's looking up the customer ticket for this person that called, but what he's actually doing is he's going into the HTML templates for Repair Shopper and adding in the license number to the top of the template, and then previewing the ticket, pretending he's still on hold with the customer, seeing that the license number shows up. Then he prints it and hands it to the inspector and says, "See, it's all there." And I want you to think about that. He actually thought to himself, this inspector walked into the store. Instead of just answering his questions, I'm going to try to be one step ahead of him at all times so that I can keep my boss from getting a fine. Does that sound like the behavior to a non-commissioned employee to you? Somebody who's actively going out of their way to think as hard as they can as to what they can do to avoid their boss getting a fine. An erroneous bullshit fine. It's moments like that. I mean, like, you don't get that type of behavior out of people that you write up. You don't get that type of behavior out of people when you're debating, should I keep this person because they're always doing exactly enough to not get fired? You don't get that type of fucking behavior. You don't get the people who look out for your business like that. You don't get people that look out for your best interests, for your reviews like that. You don't. Because, again, there's no metric for that. Not no metric. There's no reward for that. There's no commission for that. There's no way that I can gauge his performance. It's not like I can look and see, there are things where if I wanted, I could measure it. Like, how much money do we make today? How many people of the people that you called to prove repairs? How many people have good or bad reviews today? There's no metric system in my business for how many fines did you get me out of that day by coming up with some convoluted bullshit so that you saved my ass before the inspector realized that I switched POS systems and forgot to print license numbers in the ticket. You know? It's bullshit. Because you can look me up online. I'm on the Department of Consumer Affairs website. It's right there. On my wall, I'm not hiding it behind the register or any of that bullshit. As soon as you look to your right when you walk in, big sign, license number, right there in your face. It's total bullshit that I ever got a fine for that. But like the amount of effort that he went through to protect me, that's the type of effort that you don't find in people who you write up. It's the effort you don't find in people who do the bare minimum, and it's the effort that I want from everybody who works for me. But the reality is that when you send the message that you are okay with people who put in the bare minimum, see, as I said, it's just fucking impossible to die as this guy. How I've managed to die twice is beyond me. That's sad. But yeah, but you don't get. I want people who put in that level of effort. And you get people who put in that level of effort by ensuring that your employee pool doesn't get poisoned by people who are doing that bare minimum. Because again, the employees that do the bare minimum to not get fired while doing their job, again, I would argue, are actually worse employees than the people who don't show up to work. They're worse employees than the people who steal in plain sight of a camera. They're worse than the employees who will curse at a good customer, just curse them out in the middle of the store. Because the thing is, that person who curses out the customer in the middle of the store, that's somebody that I know instantly fired. There's no question about it. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no internal conflict. Should I keep this person or should I get rid of them? Just bam, fire. There's no conflict when I log into the camera system and I see somebody just putting something in their pocket that they have to go. Bam, fired. Sets an example. When people do the bare minimum, there's always the people looking, that guy's always, she's always checking her phone. Or that guy's always checking his phone. And what does the boss think? And the boss sees that the guy is putting his phone away instantly as soon as he's walking into the room, so the boss decides not to make an issue. And then the other employees go, well, I wasn't going to take out my phone, but now I know I can do that. And as long as I just put it away really quickly as he's coming, he's not going to yell at me. It's just that shit adds up. And it's not, I don't care if you take out your phone. I don't care. But when it adds up over time, it's going to get to the point. I had somebody 3.5 years ago where that happened slowly and slowly to the point where he was picking up the phone for the fucking store on the 4.5 ring right before it went to the answering machine because he was on his own phone. It just happened. Like today, picks it up on the first ring. Tomorrow he picks it up on the 1.5 ring. Next week he picks it up on the 2.5 ring. The week after that he picks it up on the 3.5 ring. A month after that he picks it up on the 4.5 ring. It's just they keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And the problem is that biggest problem is that since you were okay with the change from this to this, well, now you got to be okay with the change to this, and this, and this. It just causes so many issues. I truly and honestly appreciate when people just tell me up front about these things. Just be careful. But did I seriously just use the shield and base? What a waste of mana. Wow, that was dumb. Just be careful about that. Be careful about that poisonous influence on your staff. I remember about 3.5 years ago. This is 4 years ago. Wow. Yeah, like 4 years ago. I think it was 3.5 years ago. 3.5 years ago. I remember having somebody on staff, just hired her, and I told her how I wanted things to work. And she goes, she's kind of weirded out by it because she looks around at the environment. She just sees that things are just, the culture of the company is considerably different than what I described to her. And I said, don't worry about that. Well, really? Yeah, all those people are going to be gone in a week. And she laughs. And a week later, we were the only people at the store. That's what it turned into. It's like all these other, you may think that's okay, but all those people are going to be gone. And it really did set an example. We hired an entirely new staff. Entirely new staff of people. I said, don't worry about it. All those people that you see around you are going to be gone. And then they were. Don't you stun me, mofo. See, look at this. He slows you, and he has infinite shield. So, I mean, this guy is such a fucking troll. It is impossible to just not own as him. And look, I'm healing. Now, I slowed him down. I kept attacking him. I became invincible. Fuck. And then, okay, so I died. But still. And this ratio here is bullshit. I know you may think that 5 and 3 is good. 5 and 3 is not good as this guy. Anything above 0 deaths as this guy means you suck. You can't have more than 3 deaths as a Batten. That's a fucking insult. Yeah, let's see how bad this is lagging. What is this? 1 frame a second? I think it's the light. I think I confused the camera. What have I done to the fucking camera before I respawn? What have I done? Let's see. I have the ISO set to 2500. It's still fucked. Oh well. Here we go. Don't get greedy, you fuck. Oh. Roar. Death. What's up, boy? Who's mad? I know you have to be mad that I suck so bad as this cheap hero. How can I be this bad? 5 and 4 is the cheapest hero in the game. Come here, Clinton. Come on up. Good, Clinton. Look at how ecstatic he is to be here. Whoa, what's happening up here? Eh. No need to chase. Okay, let's save Tinker. Fuck it, let's save me. I'm screwed. Rest in peace. Should I run back in here? Yeah. Potential kill steal. Damn, no kill steal. Not worth it. Wow, they already left. Look at that, 2 disconnects up there. How do you feel about that, Clinton? Clinton? Who's my kit? Whoa. And one kitten goes, another kitten appears. Hi, Blackberry. I never feel good about firing or laying people off. And I joke about it because I've done it so often. Layoffs in particular hurt more than firings because like a firing is where you know that the other person is genuinely useless and they just need to go. But a layoff is when somebody may be useful, but for whatever reason you simply can't afford them at that time. Those hurt. There's something, I don't feel like I'm necessarily, on one hand, I don't feel like I'm necessarily qualified to tell somebody, you used to be able to pay your rent and now you can't. On the other hand, when it comes to, the whole firing thing and the people who don't know what they're doing, I have to choose every single day. It's not even just about doing the bare minimum to not get fired. Because one of the things, it's not about doing the bare minimum to not get fired. It's about making the boss feel like it's a good idea that he pay you rather than keep the money. You know? Like at the end of every day, I have to think to myself, is that person worth $100? Is that person worth $150? Is that person worth $275? Would I have been better off if I kept that $275 in my pocket? Or I guess in this case, in my payroll, because I do pay people on the books. You have to be careful with 63,000 subscribers. You never know. The wrong person may be listening that when I say pocket thinks that that means that I pay people off the books. I use a legitimate payroll company. I pay my taxes, which is silly because most repair shops don't. But that's a topic for another video. But yeah, like I have to, it comes down to that. Like, do I feel good as a result that $200 left my bank account to go to you? And that's what it comes down to. Like, I always try to turn it around. Anytime I start to feel guilt on these things, I try to turn it around and make it as if other people are affecting my actions rather than it just being all about me. Like, what did somebody else do to influence my actions? And I don't do that to take responsibility. I don't do that because I don't want a sense of personal responsibility. I do it so that I stop taking responsibility for other people's failures. It's not about not wanting to take responsibility for myself. I have this tendency to take responsibility for the failures of others to just an extreme extent. It's like, if somebody lost interest in a job, it must be because I failed at making the job interesting. If somebody was an idiot, it's because I failed to educate them. If somebody's an idiot, it's because I failed to realize they were an idiot before they started work. I always make it my fault, How can I possibly know that a college graduate can't figure out in 30 minutes how to spell Fernando or find the word Fernando on a list, Like, they had a college degree. They passed every test I threw at them. They did the job great for weeks, and then it just turned out that they were totally useless. I keep making it about what I did wrong, and one of the things that I do to cope with this is I just try to think about how somebody else influenced my decision. So instead of making it about what gives me the right to tell somebody else they can't afford to live their life anymore, I think of it like, well, what are they doing to convince me every single day that I'm better off giving them $200 than just keeping it. And if you're doing a good job and making my business money and saving me hassle and making my life overall less stressful and building what it is that I'm building, then great. But if you're not doing any of those things and you're making my life more of a pain in the ass and you're not really contributing, see, then this is where that comes in. It's not necessarily all about me. It's about the other person. I was chasing an illusion that whole time. And now I'm dead. Bullshit. Oh, man. Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. At least I have some money. I can buy some cool stuff. I get myself a crystallysis. I think you pronounce it different. Let's see. What is this? This is a crystallis. I like crystalsis. I always read it wrong. It's crystallis. Crystallis. I like crystalsis. Crystalsis. Even though that's not even the way it's fucking read. It's the way I thought it was read when I looked at the screen, half paying attention to it the first time I played the game. And then I continued to mispronounce the weapon that way. Let's see, am I still more kills than deaths? I'm still more kills than deaths, but still, 6-4. 6-4 is not very impressive. Riki is really killing it. That little sneaky fuck. Dead again. Oh, fuck that. Not dead again. Kill this damn straight. F you. Get the fuck out of here. I avoid this first ability on a Baton because it's so useless. It does very little damage. It damages myself in addition to damaging the other person. Why would I want to damage the other person 250 while damaging myself 150? And it's not even like it chains and damages multiple. It's just such a shitty ability. I should go because I'm about to get killed, but yeah, I should have just stuck to what I said. I should have right-clicked in the other direction. I have 55 seconds to reflect on what an idiot I am. Two seconds left. I've got my crystal sis. My crystal sis. And time to get a Monkey King bar. Let's see, where's a quarterstaff? Quarterstaff. This? There we go. Is that what I'm looking for? I don't think that's what I'm looking for anymore. For the Monkey King bar, I need a javelin, not a quarterstaff. Oh, I was close. I thought it was a quarterstaff. Kind of excited because there's somebody starting who I think legitimately has a brain and will do a good job. It seems like somebody who's genuinely motivated. We'll see. The thing with the poisonous effort actually happened a few years ago. And with the just poisoning the staff and just kind of making other people feel like there's a lowest common denominator. Somebody who came to work very often who had the sniffles. Often had the sniffles. Even when it wasn't allergy season. Even when it wasn't cold outside. Even when he didn't have a runny nose. He didn't show up to work every Monday. He had the sniffle. Every time he talked. Always. He was really hyper, man. You know, he was really hyper. He could package boxes faster than everybody. I mean, faster than everybody. Like, get hundreds of orders out in the first hour or two of his shift. And then when that hour or two ended, man, he seemed to get a lot more tired very quickly, and his sniffling would go away. Oh, man. Yeah, I got somebody coming tomorrow that I think is going to be great. I have a good feeling about this. It's one of those... I mean, so far... I've got like an ex-real estate agent, corrections officer, a pizza store manager. I've been able to teach all these other people board repair and common sense and customer service. Like, why can't I teach somebody to work that works for me, all that stuff? But it's starting tomorrow, and I'm excited. I hope it goes well. I genuinely hope it goes well. If it does, things will change. It's been years now since I started doing the board, since I started doing all the board repairs in-house, stopped outsourcing it all, and took on all this other stuff, and, you know, it takes a toll on you. I haven't had a day off since mid-March. But I'm excited. I'm excited. There's other things I want to do with my life. And I'll be able to pursue them as soon as I find somebody who can do this stuff well. And that's that. I think I won, and the only reason I won is because I randomed a really cheap hero. Yeah, it's barely focusing. What's up with you, Sony? Usually it's better than that. I'm not sure why today it's not doing camera's not being its usual self. Oh well, that's it for today.